Hey guys, we're back. If you didn't know, I'm a writer. I currently am going to grad school to get my Master's of Fine Arts degree in creative writing. I have my bachelor's in creative writing and literature. I've been writing since I was 14. Actually, I've been writing since I was little, but I started taking it seriously when I started writing fan fiction when I was 14. And then as a senior in high school, my English teacher told me I could, major in it in college, and I was like, yes. And as my friend, who is also in my program, says, we are majoring in pipe dreams, so that's always fun. But because of that, I struggle to stay focused kind of on writing and find kind of, what's the word inspiration, I guess. So because of that, I want to start a new mini-series on my channel. I want to do writing Wednesdays, or every Wednesday, or at least every other Wednesday, I post some kind of writing-related video where either I talk about writing, or I talk about some writing recently I found that I like, different than the book reviews I do. Or I read some poetry or something that either I've written or I found that I really liked. Or I just talk about whatever my current work in progress is and just kind of use that as an excuse to stay focused on my writing in a way, because of everything I do, I kind of get lost sometimes when it comes to things. Either I'll get too focused in on one thing and forget about the other. I'll pay too much attention to YouTube and stop writing, or vice versa. Or I'll pay too much of attention to my video games and stop doing anything else. So I kind of try to figure out how to keep a healthy balance. And I think incorporating them a little bit will help. Today we're going to talk about just kind of my current work in progress. And I'm actually filming this on Wednesday the 13th, but it's going to be up for Wednesday the 20th. So it's 10:45 at night. I'm not uploading this tonight. So by the time this goes up, I will have turned in whatever progress I have on this project. But I'm in a fiction workshop this semester at college, and our kind of final project is to write a novella in about 3 weeks. It's our teacher's way of making us kind of participate in a remo. But instead of writing a novel in a month, we're writing a novella, which is about 20,000 words, 20,000 to 50,000 words in about 3 weeks. So it's due Sunday night, so the 17th by midnight. I'm currently at 6,500 words, so that's awesome. Love that. Last night in class, we had just kind of work time to work on it, and she made us go around the room and tell her our current word count. And she got to me and she's like, Kelsey, what's yours? And I was like, I'd rather not say. And she's like, what is it? And I was like, 4,500. And she looked at me like I was just dumbfounded. I was like, yep, that sounds about right. It was horrible, but I was able to write about 1,500 words during the hour she gave us for writing, which was awesome. And I've written about another 600 since then, so I'm at 6,600, something like that. I'm currently trying to write a YA novella, I guess. I have a feeling it's going to become a way longer project than just a novella. But so my main genre for writing is YA. I write both fiction and poetry. That's what I concentrated in my undergrad, because I actually went to an art school, so I got a degree in creative writing and literature with concentrations in fiction and poetry, as opposed to an English degree with a concentration in creative writing. So now in my grad program, I had to pick one thing to concentrate in, and I focused, even though I concentrated in both in my undergrad, I focused mostly on the poetry aspect because I'd never really written poetry before, whereas like I said, throughout my entire teenagehood, I wrote a lot of fiction. I wrote a lot of fanfics and one-shots, and if you don't know what one-shot is, it's like a short story, pretty much, for people on Tumblr with their favorite band members and stuff. And that's about all the details you're going to get on that. Because I recently found them again and reread them, and boy, oh boy, I really hope my writing's gotten better. Though it was encouraging to see, because even at 14 to 17, my writing wasn't the worst. And maybe that's just because I wrote it, so that's what I think. But it's also encouraging to see how far I've come. I know I still have a long way to go, but I don't know, I liked it. So I'm currently trying to write a YA piece. The problem is, with not only my program, but pretty much any creative writing program you find, whether it's grad or undergrad, is going to probably frown upon genre writing. And genre writing includes YA. It's sci-fi, YA, fantasy. romance, anything that is not just pure literary fiction, which is a big frustration to me. But like I've said also previously, that's a whole nother rant for a whole nother time. So my goal is to kind of write a YA book that isn't obviously YA. Ooh, I'm hitting things. That isn't obviously YA. So like you read it and you don't go, oh, this is obviously YA. And not that that's a bad thing. Let me be very clear. It's mostly just to please the people around me while still doing what I want. It's mostly my way of getting what I want. If we're being completely honest. Like the best example I have is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I just did a video on that because I had just reread the book for this project to kind of have that in my mind because I want this project to have the same feel as that. Obviously I don't want to copy Looking for Alaska, but I want the feeling that that book gave me, I want this story I'm writing to have. And and right now it's like, especially since I plan to not leave it as a novella because I'm kind of incapable of writing that sort of stuff. There's a lot of build-up, you know, I'm introducing the characters, they're getting to know each other kind of thing because they're in high school. And like my main character, her name is Parker, and I'm actually really excited. I've always loved Parker and Carter and those kinds of names for girls, but you know, her and her family moves to Colorado. She starts new school in the middle of the school year, kind of against her will, though she's the kind of girl that's not going to fight against her parents because she knows it's not going to do her any good. And she makes some new friends, this group of kids, Dylan, Scott, Lucas, and Renee. And my plan is to have her and Dylan and Scott all get really close and not have a love triangle because that's overrated. You know, I want, you know, them to all be really close, and I'm not going to totally spoil it because I do hope to maybe do something with this one day, but I want to have, you know, there be romantic and platonic interests when it comes to a trio and not have there automatically be a love triangle because I think that's very cliched and overdone. And because it's also unrealistic, like it can be a thing, but also growing up, I was always friends with a lot of guys and girls, and like rarely were there ever actually love triangles. Those actually happened a lot more as I got older, weirdly enough, but we were also older, so we were able to get past them. But in high school, we didn't have weird love triangles, you know? Not in the way that it's always portrayed in books. And I'm kind of over it, especially after, you know, a Hunger Games. And that was a while ago, I will fully admit. That was 2010, 2011, I want to say. But after that series, you know, and a couple other ones, like Divergent as well. After those, you know, post-apocalyptic love triangle stories, I was just totally over that. So... But those are some of my favorite books, don't get me wrong. I just kind of want to do YA without the cliches in the sense that, you know, they say there's no, the tagline for pretty much anything is there's no new stories in Hollywood. And while books aren't necessarily Hollywood, they are in a way. And the point is it's kind of hard to write new stuff that hasn't already been done before. And my goal is to not write new stuff, but to rewrite old stuff in a sense that it's like I'm using old cliches or stuff that's overdone, but I'm doing it in my own way. And I think that's what all writers should strive to. And it's just, lately it's just hard to stay motivated on this because it could be my favorite thing I'm writing, and if someone tells me I have to do it or it's an assignment, I don't want to. Like this time last year, my first semester here, I accidentally, and yes I do mean accidentally, wrote a 50,000 word novel in my free time. No one forced me to do it. It was all on my own, and it is crap. Don't get me wrong, but I did it for the first time ever. I actually wrote an entire 50,000 word length novel because no one was telling me to. Whereas this story, like that story, I'm still really excited about and still want to work on and kind of get to a potential publish-worthy place. But like this one I'm working on, I'm even more excited to write it. But because I'm writing it for class, it's really hard to find the motivation to. And I think with creatives, especially creatives that are doing it for a degree, you can really learn to hate your craft, which is the worst thing because you're trying to do this to get better at it, to make a career out of it, and you just end up hating it. Like I remember when I graduated from my undergrad, I did not write for like 2 months straight. I didn't look at a pencil, I didn't look at a book. I was like, no, I'm focusing on TV and sleep. And that's all I did for 2 to 3 months, and that sucks, first of all. But it can really be hard to find motivation, so I think what we all need to remember when we're doing stuff like this, whether it's writing, poetry, filming, photography, even other stuff we might be majoring in or stuff we like accounting, science. I don't know other majors if that's obvious, but anything. I think we have to remember that no matter what we may be doing, even if it's not something we like or we're being forced into it, in the end we're still doing it for us. and that's a really important factor in my personal opinion. Like I'm still doing this for me. One, I enjoy this project, which helps. It's just stressful because of it being an assignment. But two, I'm doing all of this to get a degree because that's what I wanted. So I think that's the motivation we have to find. While that's still really hard, I think it can be helpful to be like, okay, as annoyed as I am, or as stressed out as I am, or as much as I don't want to do this right now, I am doing it for me, whether it feels like an effort or not right now. And I don't know, I feel like that'll help all of us, because I know I struggle hardcore with staying motivated with things, whether they're assignments or not. Like, I'll get involved in something and be super excited about it for a couple days, and then be like, yeah, I'm over it, I'm done, I don't want to. You know, and that's horrible, first of all. First of all, no, don't do that. But it can be really hard. It can. And we all struggle with that, and there's no shame in that. It's just knowing what to do when you hit that wall and you're like, I don't want to do it. I think that's going to be it for this Writing Wednesday video. But yeah, I'm definitely, as it goes along for this assignment, and even past one of the assignments too, I'm going to kind of keep it updated during the Writing Wednesday videos. And because I do write a lot of poetry, and I have a poetry Instagram that I post on, I will probably occasionally read poetry that I find works being read out loud, because a lot of my poetry isn't like that. Like I said from the get-go, I've wanted this channel to kind of encompass all things that is me, and that includes gaming, and that includes my cystic fibrosis, and that includes talking about mental health issues and writing and reading poetry and all of these other things that I do. And I can understand that can be overwhelming to watch and to be subscribed to, so I don't ever expect really a lot of people to stay, but I do hope that if you come and watch just one video, it'll be the one video you were kind of looking for, if that makes sense. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure to leave me a like below, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I can't talk, sorry. I stumble over my words a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, writing nerds!